Well, good afternoon, Valter. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. I am very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I don't want to forget to tell you that Billy Weiss, who's a good friend of mine from North Berkeley Imports, asked me to tell you hello.
Yeah, thank you so much.
He said, tell Valter I said hello. He's a really great guy.
Say ciao to him. Okay.
I'll try not to hold your friendship with Billy against you. But we've been friends for a long time, and he's a great guy. Was he your importer for a while, or you just know him?
No. I met him years ago, but I don't know. I don't work with them.
So I had planned that we would taste the Nascetta and then the Dolcetto and then the Barolo. Does that fit with what you think we should do?
Yes, I prepare the wines. I have Nascetta 17, Dolcetto d'Alba Mandorlo 16, and Barolo Cascina Nuova 2016.
Well, we have the 17 Dolcetto d'Alba.
17. I receive 16.
It's all right. We'll make it work.
So I received an email with 16, but anyway, 17 probably I didn't have any bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I think the inventory said 16, and then it actually is 17. So their system didn't like update it. So I thought you were getting 16. That's why we had the. Yeah. How are you, Valter?
Fine.
I'm
you?
Good.
Nice
I'm good. It's warmer here than when you were here last.
Yes.
Valter came to the market in February when I started, like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was so cold. I don't know that he'll ever be back in February.
My third night in the Twin Cities in January of 2019, when I moved here, the wind chill was 50 below zero.
Yeah.
And know, I knew I was in a different part of the world.
I will come in summer, okay?
Yeah.
Again.
So, Valter,
perfect.
So, Valter, we are obviously thrilled to have this conversation with you today. Your wines have been a big part here for a long time in the restaurant. They've been a big part of our program here for a long time. So we are big fans at Osteria Noni and the store Sunfish Cellars. But I'd encourage everyone that I share this with tomorrow to go on and pour themselves a glass of the Nascetta. Valter, could you just take a few minutes and give us an idea of the history of Elvio Cogno, how it started, how it's evolved, where we are now?
So the Cogno family started in La Morra since 1961 when Elvio Cogno founded Marcarini Winery, and he made legendary Barolos in La Morra until 61 with Barolo Brunate and Barolo La Serra, and the partnership with Marcarini was broken in 1890 when we moved to Novello, and we bought this beautiful property in Ravera Cru in Novello. Is a commune not so far from La Morra, around 5 kilometers from La Morra. And we came here for many reasons. First of all, because my father-in-law born in Novello village, and he knows perfectly the potential of this area, and he knows perfectly what we can get here. And the second point is that it was not easy to buy at that time a winery like this with 11 hectares or 30 acres located around the farm in one piece of land. That was so very lucky to buy this property, because today the cost is so high and the land is so expensive in the Barolo, and but in that years was still possible. Anyway, Elvio Cogno knows perfectly that the second challenge of his life is to build a brand with another crew like Ravera, and but he are very sure of the result that we can get here.
How old was he in 1961?
Me?
No, how old was Elvio in 1961?
1961 was 33.
And then, but when he made the break with Marcarini, he was 60, right?
60, right.
That's a major undertaking for someone 60 years old. That was.
Yeah, it was a challenge, you know, for him. Restart after a long time like that with this famous history from his side, but he want to manage his winery, and this is the reason. And the family want to continue the tradition of. This is the 5th generation now. My daughter is the 5th generation that we continue to make wine, and that is very important. The continuity is really important in our work.
1961 was the first vintage.
Yeah, I opened a bottle just a couple of days ago, Barolo Brunati 61.
Really?
I don't bring the bottle, but if you want, I can go in another room and take an empty bottle that I just bought.
You know, that's fantastic that you suggested that, because I actually made some notes for this and I left them in the other room. So I need to go get those. If you'll go get that bottle, I'll go get my notes and we'll meet back here.
You wait me 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I go to take this bottle, okay?
Okay. So Allison, tomorrow when I share this, I'll just fast forward through this, you know.
Okay.
This little
That's
delay. I was looking for an excuse to go get my notes.
There you go. Worked out.
There it popped up. How's your vacation going?
It's good. It's a staycation. But I've just been able to go to my kids' stuff and just kind of do things around the house and not have to think about wine logistics for a few days, which was kind of nice. So
yeah. So Valter, how was the 60-year-old Barolo Brunati?
No, this is not Barolo Brunati because my father-in-law is Barolo, but he's Brunati. But he started to put the crew on the label since 1964, the first vintage. Okay, so this is 61. You can see the vintage.
Yeah, and how was it?
Was beautiful. It was very still fresh. Of course, the color is a little bit evolved, but the wine was good acidity. Still life. You know, you have life in your mouth. It's not flat or passed. You know.
Interestingly, Angelo Gaia's first vintage was 1961 also.
Yeah.
And
yeah, 61, 2021 is the right time to drink.
I drank a magnum of 61 Gaia Barbaresco at a restaurant in New York City. In the mid 90s. It was fabulous. It was a fabulous restaurant, and the wine was fabulous. It's one of those wines I'll always remember.
When you open a bottle like this, is an emotion, you know, is something special.
Well, you know, Michael Broadbent famously Michael Broadbent from Christie's at the Hubline auction in Atlanta in the 80s sold a bottle of 1865 Bouchard Clos Vougeot for to a restaurateur in Memphis, Tennessee for $35,000. And then a few months later, that restaurant had a dinner where they poured this bottle of wine for people that paid a lot of money to be there as a fun charity event for a children's hospital in Memphis. And when Mr. Broadbent opened the wine, it was completely oxidized.
Yeah.
And so he very famously said, ladies, what do you have to say something, right? And and Mr. Broadbent said, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are not drinking wine, we are drinking history.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you open something 60 years old or 100 years old, you are drinking history.
Of course, yes.
And there is that emotional content to that too, that it's not just fermented grapes put into a bottle. There's something more going on there.
Anyway, this bottle was very, very beautiful, and is always a challenge. When you open a bottle like this, the cork could be a problem, have a problem. But in this case, the wine was good, still good, have a good freshness, and I enjoy, and everybody enjoyed, because I tasted with the journalist that was here, and normally I don't open bottle like this, but this bottle is arrived from US. I have a good friend in New York that called Bill Hellman, that is a collector of wine, and he visited me some years ago and make me this beautiful gift, and he brought me 5 or 6 bottles of Cogno Marcarini, 64, 82, 85, and 61. So you still, this Bill Hellman is the white label,
Yeah.
here.
Wow. So what's your path to being at Elvio Cogno? I mean, I know you married Nadia, but what's your background in wine? How did you learn to be?
I learned many things of Elvio, of course. Probably my career start with Elvio. No, for sure, start with him. I worked in Marcarini 2 years, 2 vintages, 84, 85. I managed these 2 vintages in La Morra. And in that years, I was 18 years old, and for me was a great experience with him, and I learned the passion from him, really the great passion that he had, and transmit me this passion. Of course, my family is coming from a region like Roero area, that and my family had vineyards too, and already when I was a child, I loved to stay in the vineyards with my grandfather. So is a family history, And anyway, initially I have made other study, on the beginning. I don't study, enologist study. I study engineer, and but when I married Nadia and my father-in-law left Marcarini, I decided to follow him in Novello, because this was my dream. And then I was really concentrated to keep higher the quality and the reputation of Elvio Cogno in the years. This was my first goal of all my life.
Is Elvio still alive?
No, Elvio passed away in 2016.
So there is this responsibility to.
I started to manage the winery with him, of course, since 1996. And of course, I share with him all aspects but the responsibility was mine from that time, and I make a long road to develop my knowledge and develop and improve the quality of Elvio Cogno wines. And in the years also I have changed many things. What never I changed is the mentality, the tradition. I never changed that.
Well, tell us about this first wine.
Nascetta?
Yeah, I honestly, I've been doing this for a while, and it is not frequent that I am presented with a grape that I have never heard of. I have never heard of this grape. And I asked somebody about it yesterday who's more knowledgeable about Italian wine than I am, and he said, well, it's the only indigenous white grape in Piedmont, in Piemonte.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? And anyway, what in the world, what is this?
Yeah, a good question. And thank you for making me this question. Because this is one of the wine that I produce, and I feel me very proud for what I have done with this variety, because since 1994, when we started to produce this wine, nobody knows Nascetta, only it was a local wine, a local grape. This is original from Novello village. I had manuscript since 1789 that talking about Nascetta already. That as a really important white wine for Piemonte. And you say why you spend a lot of time to save a grape like this, because it's a really important white wine. It's a wine can age so well. And I tasted in past in 1986 old bottles from the local small producer, and the wine was fantastic. And we say why we need to plant Chardonnay Sauvignon into the Lange when we have a beautiful variety like this. This is original Piemonte's variety. And since 1994, when we started, there was only another producer that make the same road of me. That was Valter Massa, that with the Timorasso. And Nascetta and Timorasso in that years started this new project to save this grape. And today, maybe Timorasso more than us, but also Nascetta is growing a lot. Now there are 35 producers, 12 producers in Novello. So it was a difficult but grateful road that we have done.
We tasted Timorasso.
Sorry.
Excuse me. We tasted Timorasso with Giorgio Rivetti a few months ago.
Yeah.
And his Timorasso is, a fantastic wine. And you just think if it hadn't been for Giorgio and a few others, that grape might have disappeared from the world.
But when we started in that years, only Valter Massa was the pioneer, like me for the Nascetta, okay? And somebody started before and have a vision that somebody else don't have. But in this work, it's necessary to have a teacher that help to learn something. I have a teacher all time of my life. I learn from my father-in-law always, and I continue to learn today after 30 years. And I never finished to learn something about this work.
Well, in the last 2 days, you've taught me something. You've taught me about Nascetta, which I didn't know.
This is indigenous variety that come from, probably the origin is from Sardinia, but nobody are completely sure that where this variety come from. But is anyway is a Mediterranean character, is a good color, golden color. But is a wine that often we drink this wine too early. Now I am happy to drink 17 now. I am so happy. Thank you for this opportunity, because I didn't taste this wine for a long time. And I find today this wine I taste with you. This is a very rich creaminess, good minerality you find. This is a wine that when aged, they show these stone notes. Is a little bit more similar to Gruner Veltliner a little bit. 17 is a little bit warmer vintage. And you feel a little bit more tropical character when it was young. Now that is old, start to show the salinity, the savory, and that is coming out, especially in the mouth, the creaminess, because this wine make a long lease, 6 months on the lease. And in the smell, I feel a lot of savory, a little bit rosemary, rosemary and sage.
In a blind tasting, I would be completely, I would have no chance whatsoever of identifying this.
What do you say, blind taste? What do you say?
If I tasted it not knowing what it was? Oh, you're asking me what would I say?
Yeah.
I think, you know, I would be completely confused because I wouldn't be able to identify this as what it is. But I would probably, I'd probably, you know, I'd think it was an old world wine with a little bit of age, not a lot of age, from a warmer vintage because of the richness of it.
Richness, yes.
And I think I would think, if I had to, I would think Chenin Blanc, but Chenin Blanc with more acidity.
Right. I agree.
But with more acidity than most Chenin Blancs have.
Yes, but now with the new version of Nascetta that we have done in 19, for example, 2019, is very northern style because we changed a little bit the vinification, you know. This Nascetta make malolactic fermentation, okay? Now the new Nascetta don't have malolactic fermentation and you have a more acidity because I love the linear wine, very white with tension, you know. Yeah. And now when in this time, I agree with you that is Chenin Blanc, completely agree with you, but a little bit less acidity. Yes, it's true.
You know, that word tension, the 2016 Ornellaia had one bottle in every 6-pack had a piece of art on the label that was called tensione. Mm-hmm. That word, it doesn't get used that much in talking about wine, but tension in wine like this is really important. That kind of, well, tension, what else could you, this
vibration,
nervousness, it's kind of a little nervousness in the wine that is not just complacent and boring and insipid. Right. You know, we have a wine here that's really, really popular, and I won't identify it. It is, people just love this wine. I think they should change the label of this wine to just say white wine, because mm-hmm. it is just generic. To me, it just tastes like generic white wine. Like, I don't, you know, that should sell for $2 a bottle. That is the opposite of tension. This wine has that I think in spades. It has that interplay between the different elements. It's really complex. Those herbaceous characteristics that you mentioned, the sage and rosemary, those are pronounced. But you also talked about the salinity of the wine.
Yeah.
That's another word that you don't hear very much, but for some reason in the last few weeks in these conversations, that word has come up a lot, this salinity of white wines. That is so important and
make salivate your palate, you know. Yeah. That is important. That means keep clean clean your mouth. And when the mouth is clean, you want to retaste the wine and you finish the bottle. This is the point. Because when the wine is flat and large in your mouth, it became boring, you know. You don't have any reason to retaste. This is the point.
I mean, it's just a fantastic wine. What we talked to one winemaker who mentioned salinity, but he meant salts in a broader sense, that he was talking about salts as a category of minerality, not as sodium chloride, you know?
Yeah, but this is come from the soil that we have here in the Ravera crew, you know, is a beautiful microclimate that is cooler place that you have a great temperature excursion through night and day. And in a day you have a very warm place, but in a night we have the temperatures going down a lot. That and is a place quite windy, and this characteristic keep also the beautiful freshness that you find not only in Nascetta but also in Barolo, in Barbera, in other variety, because the same sensation of salinity, of savory is coming from the soil, and you find it in many other wines that we produce.
I just love this wine.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just love this wine. I am so excited to discover this wine. My gosh, it is just absolutely.
I open a bottle when I opened the 61 Barolo. I opened a bottle of 2003 Nascetta. So that is a very old and very difficult vintage because very super warm. It's a torrid vintage, you know. And the wine was fabulous. It's more Alsace character, you know, at now. Wow. Color is very yellow, very golden color, not oxidized. This is what I feel very happy and very proud about this wine, because the wine is so fresh, so complex. You feel a little bit notes of papaya, mango, a little bit, but in the end you have minerality coming out, stone flavors, is flint notes, a little bit flint notes. Is beautiful, really beautiful wine. And that is convinced me more that what I ever choose with this variety was perfect for me and for my history.
How long have you been making this?
It's 1994, first vintage, 1,000 bottles. I bought all grape available in the commune, you know. I go in a place and take a basket, go another place and take another basket. And first year I produced 1,000 bottles, Vino da Tavola Bianco, Nascetta. The people here, the ancient people knows this variety because everybody knows, but it was not the authorized variety that you can verify. So in 2000 was authorized from the Italian government, and 2004 for the DOC, Lange White, and 2010 Lange Nascetta del Comune di Novello, the last step. Lange Nascetta del Comune di Novello means 100% Nascetta variety. Lange Nascetta, because outside of Novello is possible to produce this grape, is allowed to blend with 50% other variety. This is the big difference, that you have Lange Nascetta di Novello and Lange Nascetta. Okay.
What is your vision for this wine? Because if the 2003 was still alive and beautiful, it's not a simple just picnic wine. It's something special. Do you have vision that this might become something
listen,
more
with the experience that I have, and with what and like we are doing today, I can say that 2019 vintage, the last vintage version of Nascetta, probably can age more than 20 years without any problem. Really, I am sure, quite sure about that. Okay, and I am really happy to try this wine next 10 years. In fact, we postponed the release, the new vintages. 2020 we release 1 year later, because we drink too early this wine. That it was you lose a lot of characteristic of this wine if you drink too early. This is the point. It's a beautiful wine, but is a little bit needs to develop the complexity in the bottle in the years, and that is very important.
Well, that's another way that it's like Chenin Blanc, that really high quality Chenin Blanc ages a long. I mean, Huad and Foro Vouvrays, they can be 50 years old. I mean,
Yeah. I think Nascetta in the new version without malolactic aged fermented 30% in large barrel Slavonian oak and 70% in stainless steel. No cold maceration, but cold stabulation is different. I preserve the acidity. Now I produce an Nascetta with 6.8 of acidity. That is amazing, and the wine age much more.
well, I didn't expect this. Because it's an inexpensive wine, I thought it was just going to be an inexpensive white wine. I didn't expect to have this kind of epiphany, emotional experience with this wine. I opened a 2011 Trimbach Cuvée Frederic Emile yesterday for one of these conversations. That's a very, very famous and very special bottle of wine. These two wines have a lot in common. I mean, they're different grapes and they're different places and they're different everything, but they have a lot in common in their profoundness. And that's a very high compliment, so, because that's one of my favorite wines in the world. Anyway, so thank you. Gosh, thank you, Allison. Thank you, Valter, for this. I'm really moved. I had no expectation that would be such a special wine. Gosh, thank you. So do you think of yourself as more of a traditional Barolo winemaker or more of a modern?
Absolutely. Hyper traditional.
Hyper traditional.
Yeah, hyper traditional.
So
yes.
you're not one of the Barolo boys.
No. But that is not. I don't want to talk about critics with this kind of wines. But today I absolutely so happy that I never try to do a wine like that, like the other version. I prefer absolutely this kind of Barolo. And I am super confident that what I have done is the right choice.
If you did that, Elvio might come up out of the grave.
Yes, it was so happy, I think, that I didn't change.
Yeah. But what does it mean? I mean, tell us what it means to be a traditional Barolo or Lange winemaker. What really does that mean? Honestly,
today I don't like to speak anymore. I don't want to speak anymore about this to have this different vision about modern and tradition. Of course, because now the time is passed over. About these models. For me now, we are living in another time, and need what I need to explain today, that the wines are beautiful or not beautiful, are drinkable or not drinkable, are pure or not pure. I like to talk about that. And if you ask me what means to make a pure wine, means don't use barrique for me. Means use a large barrel. So in this case, you say, you are a traditionalist. Yes, I am a traditionalist. If you want to tell me that, I tell that. But I don't want to talk about traditional and modern in this moment. What I like that when you open a bottle, the wine is great, and is a great expression of terroir, is a great expression of the variety that we produce. So For me, a great Barolo is espresso of Nebbiolo, the best, most important espresso of Nebbiolo grape produced in the Lange, in the Barolo area. This is the key. To do that is important. Don't add any flavors from the wood. It's important to have a perfect phenolic maturation, to be a really great viticulture, mostly then a beautiful enologist. That is more important from my side. I want to preserve the fruit of the grape. That is my goal. This is my new vision. For me, the wines need to be very pure and very focused on the flavors of the Nebbiolo. And when I open a Barolo, I need to understand, okay, this is Nebbiolo grape, this is Barolo, this is the goal. Okay, and we are making long fermentation, around 40-50 days of maceration. And recently I started to produce Barolo with the whole cluster style. You know, you don't distem anymore. I try to do in 17 because I want to. My palate is more is evolved too, and I have more. I like something special, so I want to try. I want to see new frontiers, you know. But in the same time, I don't want to forget what was our past. Understand? The vision. What I learned is really important. But now we are living other time. Also, the food is changed. The people, the people eat a little bit less, eat with more finesse, and want wine with great finesse, and want wine with great purity, wine that represent regions.
Well, there's a distinction between saying you're a quote traditional Lange winemaker and saying that's one thing, which puts you in a cubby hole, you know, that's probably not fair or accurate, and saying you make wine in a traditional manner, the way that your father-in-law made the wines. Those are kind of two different things.
Today, I think that I follow the same style of Elvio Cogno. What we have changed a lot is our knowledge about the vineyards. Now we manage much better the vineyard than in past, my opinion. This is the great difference from 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and today. Today we are very concentrated on the quality of the grape, and that makes the difference. So I remember when I picked 84, my first harvest 84 in Brunate. The grape was beautiful, but I remember that the sugar level is always not easy to have a great sugar level, and the people are more concentrated in quantity. Like the quality is important, but not like now that we are maniac of the quantity of the maturation. Now today you have also much more technology also in the vineyards. So you have better equipments that help to work better, and this is the difference. So now our grape today, my opinion, quality is much better than in past. Of course, they make miracles at the time for make wine like 61 that I have drank days ago, but today is much easier to do better wines for these reasons.
Yeah. What? So let's talk about Dolcetto d'Alba. We're tasting again the 2017 Dolcetto d'Alba.
I have 16, but I can remember 17. Okay. Okay, today, before talk about Dolcetto 17, I would like to introduce the Dolcetto for Elvio Cogno family. What is Dolcetto for Elvio Cogno family? Dolcetto for Elvio Cogno family is a really important wine because Elvio Cogno take care of this wine always. We didn't see the value of this wine because if you see the value and what the cost of this wine, probably you are not so concentrated to make a great wine. Also with the Dolcetto, we are only focused on the Barolo. But for us, it's really important to have a great focus on this wine because it is a traditional wines of Piemonte. Dolcetto in Piemonte was our daily wine. We drink every day Dolcetto because it's a wine that don't get a problem because it have a lower acidity and it's very fresh. It's a wine that our grandfather drank during the lunch, and then they continue to work. And that is a wine that everybody drink Dolcetto here. Our grandfather every day drink Dolcetto. And Dolcetto is not an easy wine to do. This is the point. And today, Dolcetto, mostly producers are estirps Dolcetto today because what not an easy wine to sell in some country, but this is a big mistake for me. I continue to work with great attention with this variety because Elvio Cogno, in his history, Dolcetto was a special place in his heart. Of course, we are Barolista, and Barolo is our DNA, but Dolcetto is part of Piemonte's tradition, and that nobody can forget that.
We talked to another Piemonte winemaker recently who said that she wanted to rip up her Dolcetto vines and replace them with Barbera because Barbera is so much more popular and easier to sell these days. And her mother said, you just can't do that. You know, Dolcetto may not be the most popular wine now, but it will be again. It was, and it will be again. Don't give up on Dolcetto.
But it's not easy to replant Dolcetto Barbera where the Dolcetto was planted because Dolcetto needs other exposure. Barbera is more difficult variety. Needs to plant in south exposure to make a great Barbera. It's not automatic, you know. If you stir Dolcetto, you can plant Barbera. This is not easy. It's not a good vision, okay? Because Barbera needs exposure of Nebbiolo, okay? If you want to make a super Barbera, you need exposure of Nebbiolo, but Nebbiolo is the most important variety and nobody stirps Nebbiolo for plant Barbera. The point that Barbera is maybe much better to plant in east side in a higher place where you have more windy because Barbera is more sensible to the botrytis. But Dolcetto needs to plant, in my opinion, with the global warming, especially today. I prefer plant in northeast, northwest, but not in south, not in west, and not in east side. Maybe east better than west.
Well, one of the reasons Dolcetto may be out of favor these days is that a lot of Dolcetto isn't very good.
Dolcetto is a wine that is complicated to cultivate in the vineyards because it's very sensible of the temperature excursion. When we arrive near the harvest, there are some nights in September, the temperature is going down too much and the Dolcetto stopped the maturation. This is a big problem of the Dolcetto. And then Dolcetto is the first variety that we picked. Normally Dolcetto harvest is started in half of September. And Dolcetto, the problem that most of Dolcetto are not, my opinion, is difficult, are not so clean. Dolcetto is a wine that often is a reductive way. So it's very important to keep clean after the malolactic fermentation, rack many times. Is a wine that don't have a problem take air during the rack. When Nebbiolo is completely another world.
Yeah.
You don't need to see the air, okay? Right. Because the oxidation is terrible for Nebbiolo. But Dolcetto, no, Dolcetto needs to have a very pure, but once you work very straight after the fermentation, you have a very clean wine, and the wine is beautiful. Is so fresh, a lot of black cherry character. Another problem with Dolcetto is the tannins. So it's difficult because the tannins of Dolcetto are quite rustic. It's not so noble like the tannins of the Nebbiolo. So it's very important to manage the vinification and don't extract too much power from the wine. If you have extract too much, you get a wine a little bit rustic and difficult to drink. For this reason, my opinion, Dolcetto is important. Don't have more than 13.5% alcohol and more elegance and not too heavy. Like in past, I drink some Dolcetto that was a little bit heavy to drink. This is the point. Dolcetto is a wine that you can enjoy also in summer, a little bit chilled with beautiful like salami, like fresh cheese. This is good. This is good match.
It's a great summer red wine because you can serve it a little cool, and it really, it's really fantastic. 50, 55, 60 degrees. On a picnic table.
I am a fan of the wines a little bit cooler. 14, 15. Also the Barolo, no problem. Yeah. My opinion, they drink the white too cold and the red too hot in general. That is a mistake for me.
I think I say that about 5 times a day. that white wines should be 50 degrees and red wines should be 60 degrees, but we drink white wines 35 degrees and red wines 75 degrees. And that neither one benefits from the temperature that people tell me all the time I don't like white wine because white wine's boring. I hear that constantly. And then I always say, what temperature do you drink white wines at? They say, I just take them out of the refrigerator. Well, your refrigerator's 35 degrees. That, if you put this Barolo, if you serve this Barolo at 35 degrees, it would have nothing. It would have nothing, right? Yeah. Tell us about Rivera. What is it about Rivera that makes it such a special place? Please.
Rivera is another reason that Elvio Cogno, I need to say thanks to Elvio Cogno, to my father-in-law, because Rivera, in 1991, nobody talked about Rivera except people that buy grape here, because many people buy grape in this place and vinified or blend with other crew. Rivera is a place very special from me because I live here, and but also because we get wines with great personality, and I am sure about that. And the elevation of this place is around 380 meters, and on the beginning, everybody thinking that Rivera was favorite in a warmer vintage because you have a good elevation, you have a fresh microclimate, so the wines show always beautiful acidity and great minerality. Also for the soil, because the soil is limestone clay, not too much sand, is a white soil, calcareous soil. But then after 2014 vintage, my experience, I became very, very strong. I feel me very strong because I learned a lot during that vintage, because I produced a beautiful Barolo also in 2014. That was a very cooler vintage. And so today I'm sure that here we can do a great wine also in difficult vintage. It's very easy to make a great wine in 2016. That is a wonderful vintage. It's amazing. It's a vintage that I want to have. I want to vinify every year. But also in Fortina, who works well make good wines, great wines. And I am so happy about Ravera 14. And that was an important step for me to leave this vintage. And today I am convinced that Ravera is a good crew, because before I was a little bit reticent to thinking that also in vintage like that you can do a great wine here. But today I have this I am convinced about the difference.
Is 2016 the greatest Barolo vintage of
16
modern times?
16 is amazing vintage. Is Cascina Nuova. You have Cascina Nuova now here.
Yes.
So what is the best, what we are doing here? Today we are working, showing the difference of the Barolo Ravera. I produce 4 Barolo that's of the same crew. This is the point. Cascina Nuova, Ravera, Vigna Elena, and Bricco Pernice. So it's more difficult really work with 4 Barolo of the same crew. This is another vision, is a division, more Burgundy vision. I want to show you the single different from the single vineyards, the single plots. And we are working with the different clones of the Nebbiolo. We are working the 3 clones of the Nebbiolo, Lampia, Michetta, and Rosé. Today, not many people talking about the clones of the Nebbiolo, but for us it's very important because we have a completely different results considering the clones. Barolo Cascina Nuova is made with the youngest vineyards, around 50 years old, while Ravera and Bricco Pernice and Vigna Elena is made with the oldest vineyards, 70, 60 years old. So the Cascina Nuova is in the future became our Barolo del Comunale appellation, Barolo del Comune di Novello. Today I don't call Barolo del Comune di Novello, but I plan to do a new vineyards recently in another crew, and this wine permit me get me the possibility to blend a different crew. And we introduce in the future the new appellation of Barolo del Comune di Novello, because now the time is right for that. Before we are more concentrated to show the characteristics of the crew.
We've had these conversations with several very well-known Piedmont or Lange winemakers. You're the first person to talk about Nebbiolo clones. And maybe that's my fault for not asking about Nebbiolo clones. But we've talked to Gaia and, the winemaker at Domenico Clerico and Elisa Scavino and, others, but nobody's ever mentioned Nebbiolo clones before you.
Yeah, 90% of, or 80%, sorry, 80% of the Barolo, of the Nebbiolo planted in Barolo area is Lampia. Apart, because it's the most constant productive variety, clones. And the result is compromised to body and elegance, okay? Is quite productive, is very constant in the years. Miquette is more tannic, is a smaller bunch, and is a very thick skin, and you have more tannins. 100% Nebbiolo Miquette is too austere wine, is difficult. It's much better to blend a little bit with Lampia. In fact, we blended Nebbiolo Lampia and Nebbiolo Miquette in our Barolo Ravera, okay? 60% 40%. Then we have Vigna Elena, 100% Nebbiolo Rosé. That is very unique, is another challenge, and is another wine that feel me happy and proud. When we planted in 1991, when in that years nobody looking for the elegance, the finesse, but everybody looking for the body and the color. So rosé is a little more lighter color, more finesse, more feminine Barolo. Is a completely different Barolo. Probably in blind taste is not so easy to discover. You understand that it's Barolo because it's tannic, but what immediately is you are attracted from the smell, from the aromas that is so intense. Is dry rose petals, this more flowering character, floral character. And the Bricco Pernice is come from our oldest part of Ravera Cru, is 100% Lampia, and this is more classic Barolo, is a little bit more typical Barolo. If you never drink Vigna Elena and you taste Bricco Pernice, say, this is a Barolo. It's easy to understand, you know, it's classic. Power, much richer, a little bit more dense wine, but of course it's Ravera, so the characteristic of Ravera is always the same. So acidity, minerality, freshness, purity, but not the finesse and the elegance is a little bit behind. Okay, you are more is more Serralunga if you want to consider to understand. It's more Serralunga style, you know, Bricco Pernice.
What do you, when would you open this wine, this 2016 Cascina Nuova? When would you?
I opened 1 hour ago.
But at what age would you say it is going to start to show its best?
So immediately I can say this is what I have in mind when you make Cascina Nuova. In mind of Cascina Nuova for me is to produce a wine very approachable, a wine very pure, very fresh, a wine that you not to wait to 20 years before to drink. Is a wine so immediate, pure and fresh. Look, the color is very rubin and dark, and the smell is a lot of blueberry flavors, a touch of black currant, and the tannies are good acidity, you know. It's very, you have a linear wine, you have keep your mouth is very clean. Is not take your side of the palate, but the central of your palate, and make salivate again a lot. This wine is, I feel it's young, of course, but I love the fruit. I like the young Barolo, honestly. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to taste 61, of course, but I love also to taste this kind of Barolo today in 2021. Okay, that is a wine that probably is a postmodern wine, you know. Is a postmodern.
Yeah. In the 90s, I was the sommelier at a really amazing restaurant called the Wild Boar. And of course, we had always had some kind of wild boar dish on the menu, cignale. And, you know, this wine, a young Barolo like this with a pasta with a ragu of wild boar would be, I mean, just absolutely, this wine with one of those dishes would just be fabulous.
Yeah, you can drink whatever you want. You can drink with all kind of food, and you enjoy to drink a Barolo so young. I like, and for me, a great wine is great always. Now, during, and then. Great wine is not okay. You could, somebody say, wait, is became good. No, wait and became bad. It's not good. It's not good.
The wine only becomes great if it starts out great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a universal truth in wine. If it's not good when it's 4 years old, it's not going to be good when it's 20 years old.
No.
Famously, the classic pairing, food pairing with Barolo is white pasta with white truffles.
I prefer, depends. When it's older, I prefer, okay, this Barolo, young Barolo, I prefer drink with, also with pasta, no problem. With truffles is okay. I love Barbaresco probably more with the truffle. I need to be honest. Because it's more elegant. But Cascina Nuova is perfect with pasta too, yeah. But tajarin, our tajarin, that is egg handmade pasta, and ragu is fantastic. But also beautiful meat. I love your fantastic meat that you have in US is amazing. I like your steak, T-bone steak of US. I enjoy with this wine. A little bit more fatter now, and then when aged you feel a little bit more seasoned cheese is fantastic too. But today I can drink this wine with a piece of Parmigiano Reggiano. I love it. Okay, what is important is enjoy the wine, and also you have a perfect clean palate after.
On your website, it talks about the wines evolving in your cellar in silence. Do you know that it says that?
In silent?
Yes.
Yeah, because the rumors damage me, but damage also the wine. I prefer the relax is a relax for me, but also for the people, but also for the wine. The vibration is very bad for the wine. The rumors. I am not so crazy that somebody may put the music and that is became good, but this is okay. This is too much poetic for me. Okay, but the silence of the cellar is really important.
Well, I love the kind of.
But it's more important the humidity. Is more important the humidity. Is more important the temperature excursion.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it really means that it's silent in the cellars. I think it probably means undisturbed, allowed to develop in its own way without interference.
Exactly. I have built a new cellar underground now, and nobody comes there just for fill the cask every 2 weeks. Nobody others comes there, so no light in dark place. That is important. No good temperature. 12 degree is really important, and what is really important is to fill every week, every 2 weeks, fill the cask, because the levels going down, and we need to. That is important. Operation.
What's your vision for the future for Elvio Cogno?
Yeah, I still have some I would say some traguardi. I would say I still work for a new result, a new challenge. In fact, started in 2017 with the full cluster wines, and increase in 2018 and 19. So in the future, you taste a little bit different Barolo of Elvio Cogno. I hope that you enjoy again. But because I am not completely satisfied of what I have done until today. I am satisfied a lot, but not enough. So I have other idea about the wine.
You have a daughter? You have a daughter?
Small steps, because when you make a good wine, then it's not easy, to improve the quality every year. But the focus is to produce most natural wine, preserve the ambient. That is my goal for the future. Preserve the health condition of the vines, the health condition of my workers, and to drink wines always without any additive. This is my future idea.
You have a daughter, is that right?
I have a daughter, Elena.
How old is that? Oh yeah, you have a special bottling in her name. How old is she?
29.
Do you think she will follow you?
Today, she's pregnancy today now, and I am becoming grandfather soon in October.
Wow.
So I am so happy. And that feel me again much stronger than before, because I need to work more now, because I need to see the future.
How old are you?
I'm 56.
Wow. I need to drink more Barolo. You look good. I think if you'd said 35, I would have believed it. Is your daughter involved in the
Yeah,
winery?
today she's not working here, but my son-in-law work here with me already for 6 years, and is the same, seems to live the same my history before,
I was getting ready to say there is a tradition there of sons-in-law
Yeah.
following along. That's amazing. His name's not Valter, I assume. Do you know the gender of your grandchild?
Sorry?
Do you know what sex your grandchild is?
No.
Oh, really? So it's going to be a surprise?
Yeah, no, I know, but in October, okay? But I don't know if a boy or a girl. Nobody knows.
That most people these days, they know in advance. Well, that's exciting. Gosh, that's so exciting. So Valter, this has been fantastic, and the wines obviously are amazing. I mean, I knew the Dolcetto was going to be amazing. I knew the Barolo was going to be,
Dolcetto is
glorious.
to drink now. This Dolcetto is a wine to drink in next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, in my opinion. It's a wine to enjoy,
Yeah.
It's not a wine to keep 15 years, because you lose the fruit. Every year you lose a little bit of fruit. And the characteristic of the Dolcetto is black cherry notes. It's important to drink in the right time. But 17 now is time to drink. My opinion is the perfect time to drink a wine.
What did you serve at your wedding dinner when you
My
married
wedding
Nadia?
dinner.
Yes.
My wedding dinner started with champagne, and then Nascetta,
Really?
of course.
Really? Yeah.
But the new wedding, no, when I married again.
Well, I meant Nadia.
When I married, I served a lot of Barolo Brunate 82. A lot of Barolo Brunate 82 when I married, 1988. Okay.
Oh.
And I drink also no champagne. It was Prosecco from Nino Franco.
Oh.
Nino Franco, okay. I remember these wines. And Barolo Brunate 82. Riserva di Nadia.
Wow. Well,
Big magnums.
I wish I'd been there.
Big format.
Yeah, I wish I'd been there. So I often in these conversations with this question, which I would like to ask you, And I'm not asking you what's the greatest. I am not asking you what is the greatest wine you've ever tasted. But I was hoping if you would share an important or memorable wine experience from your life.
I had in my career a great experience with the wine. I taste wonderful wines, but I remember always a special dinner in Switzerland around probably 25 years ago in Zurich. After a long tour of my importer around the town in Switzerland. Normally every year when we finish the tour, we make a beautiful dinner with many producers. And during this time, we open great bottles from France, from Tuscany, from Piedmont, and I remember always that we open Cheval Blanc 88 is a Bordeaux wine, and the wine was amazing. And then my importer that called Martel in St. Gallen in Switzerland say, Walter, in honor of you, I want to open a bottle of Barolo Brunate 64 of the ASA. That was a challenge, you know, to open a Barolo like this after this beautiful, no, not Cheval Blanc, sorry, Margaux 88. It was Chateau Margaux 88. And I was a little bit reticent because probably there are many producers, many other was, and then when you open the bottle, I still have this bottle. Just no, I show you. Okay, this is the bottle. Okay, 64. And this is the letter that all producers sign after this time, okay? The all producer, they write me these notes about the wine, and after they sign this letter, and everybody say, this is amazing, it's amazing wine. And many producers from France and from Tuscany say, but in Piedmont you make wine like that at the time? Yes, we do. We have done, and this wine have a lot of sediment, and this bottle was empty also with the sediment. They drink a lot, and that was really a great memory for me, and also for a reminder what Elvio Cogno has done before.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's one of the best answers to that question I've received. You know, nobody would really want to follow Chateau Margaux. That's, you know.
Oh, it was a terrific wine, of course. Yeah. But say when you say I open a bottle 64, or say that we was in 2004. This was 2004 when we drink this bottle. So this bottle has 40 years. And what not easy, the cork, how is the cork? Was perfect, and the bottle was really perfect. Was an amazing wine, really amazing.
Especially to have a 40-year-old Barolo follow a 16-year-old Margaux. You know, Margaux is going to be more rich and intense.
Of course.
Full-bodied, well, not full-bodied, but
yeah.
Everything that a 16-year-old Chateau Margaux from a great vintage would be. And then you have a 40-year-old Barolo that, you know, it's not going to be powerful. It's not going to be rich and intense at 40 years old. So the fact that it showed so well is a testament to the wine. Yeah. So, and to your father-in-law. Well, thank you so much. Allison, I want you to know, Walter, Allison is on vacation right now. And even though she's on vacation, she joined us this morning. So
Thank you, Alison.
Allison-
Very dedicated.
Allison's
Yeah,
very
no, I
dedicated.
love these. They're fun. Yeah.
Where are you in
It's so good
vacation?
to see everybody. So
Where are
yeah.
you? Where are you?
I'm at home. I didn't go anywhere, but I
okay.
needed a break. I've been like hanging out with my kids and yeah.
Thank you very much
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your time and to join with us that you are in vacation. Okay.
Absolutely. This is amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to be thinking about you in October when this grandchild comes along. If it's a boy, will it be named Valter?
Sorry?
If it's a boy, will he be Valter?
I don't know. I know. I depends of Elena, not of me. I can. What is important that they are well and they feel well, and that is really important. Then
Of course.
all name that I like it always.
Well, I hope when the world returns to normal, you can come visit us here in St. Paul and
Absolutely, I want to
in
come
person.
back, and because I have a good memory also that it was a frozen time with when I met. But I need to. I was a good experience, a really great experience for me, and because I never travel work in this in that market, and was mostly of many times I spoke with Nadia about this visit that I have done there. Was a part of my life, is experience, and somebody. It's not necessary to go in Maldives for remember something. It's important to meet a great person, great people, and then you to share emotion. That is important.
You know, I didn't know this when I moved here 2.5 years ago, but there's this incredible kind of wine nexus here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Robert Mondavi's parents moved to California from Minneapolis or close to here. And the people that own Domaine Serene are from here. And actually the assistant winemaker from Lingua Franca in Oregon and Adelsheim in Oregon were in our store shopping for wine yesterday because they're both from here. They're winemakers in Oregon, but they're from here. So it's just funny how this place in Minnesota has got this kind of wine culture embedded in it. Anyway, we would love to see you in person here someday. And
I will come, promise. Okay.
Thank you. And thank
now
you.
I have the vaccine. I am already the vaccine. I can travel, no problem. So.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Valter, and thank you, Nick, Allison, and
Thank you.
both of you be safe and be happy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Both, and hope see you soon. Thank you, and have you a good weekend.
You
Okay?
too.
You too. Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Thank you, Walter.
Ciao,
Thanks,
grazie. Ciao, bye bye.
Ciao.